You heard that, guys. This is 9 years ago. Right now, do you think it is like that? Parang feeling ko bagong gising ako, guys. I feel like there's something missing. And I'm being tanned. O, diba? Parang itim ko na, guys. O, diba? Ang itim-itim. Ginawang salamin. Bagay nga sa'yo. Yung ganito, light lang. Just kind of like, I just woke up. Ohayo gozaimasu. May pa ganun. Diba? Ayan. Parang ganun lang. So, parang bagong gising. My look today is like, I just woke up, guys. There's just a lot of things that are gonna happen in my life that I'm probably gonna share with you guys very, very soon. So hopefully, if you're not subscribed to this, if you like the type of, just kind of life from fitness to talking to you guys, to socializing, discussing things, trying to be aware on yourself, being called out for things, this is your channel. Everything is here, guys. This is one channel. It's from an old man's advice. I've seen this and it has like 18 million views. So I was wondering, because I don't know in other countries, I don't know in America if you have this tradition, or in Europe, in any other parts of the country if you have this kind. But in the Philippines, in Japan, the older you are, the more wisdom you have. But at the same time, lately, I feel like, it doesn't really matter how old you are. Sometimes I would observe a lot more older people that act like kids. This is it's Bernard Albertson. This was like 9 years ago. See? O, diba? Kahit matanda na nag-YouTube pa. So, you guys, the retired ones, if you're not doing anything, share your knowledge.
Good morning. Whoops, it's raining. Hold on a minute. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit this morning about, by the way, this is a new computer and it does all kinds of things, so I have to be careful. I'm not the sharpest tack in the box when it comes to this new equipment. You're talking to a guy, or a guy is speaking to you now.
See, that's the thing with old people, sometimes like even with my mom, when laptops are kind of like affordable for everyone to actually buy, I asked her before, like, I'm gonna teach you how to use the internet, how to use a laptop. And you could always hear this from older people, like, no, we don't want it. Like, I don't want Wi-Fi or something like that. But then you introduce it to them, you take it away, they become like kids. Like, don't take away my Wi-Fi. I love old people, I really do.
It started driving a Model A car. I remember the first jet airplane and many first things. The Iceman delivering ice to an icebox, taking it off of a mule-drawn wagon. So
hold on. In the movies, when you kind of boys that are biking and deliver milk in the house, when did that kind of stop? Is it 50 years ago? I wonder if that really happens.
But I'd like to speak to you a little bit this morning about young people in particular, about accomplishing things. When I was young, as you know, I had a difficult childhood, but there's no excuse for people not being able to do what they want to do. You can do anything that you want to do.
So first of all, I don't know what kind of mental phase I was when I saw this. Obviously, it's from 9 years ago. But every time, someone older, for me, it's usually interesting to know what they coming from or what kind of life experience do they have. Those little things, because they've been there. At the same time, sometimes as a young kid, when you hear that from your parents, like, we've been there, we've done that, we've done this, it's like they don't know what they're saying. Sometimes it's so interesting to know what kind of mentality or what kind of switch are there in our brains of why you cannot see past things. For example, like, there are certain people or certain topics that we could talk about and other people would talk about it. And then a certain person who has a high qualifications or saying the exact same thing that you were just saying earlier ago, but you're not being validated on those because for whatever reason, it's so unfair sometimes that because you don't have that qualification or the status that, people doesn't listen to you. I know that sucks, but at the same time, it's what life is. You have to have a certain degree or you have to have a certain qualifications to actually expect people to listen to you. And that's why it's really flabbergasting. I know, flabbergasting. It's like really shocking sometimes that you would listen to a very famous person and they're full of shit and they're famous. It's just really, I couldn't really understand it sometimes.
As I've told you before, I lived in the back of an old car. I taught myself to read and write.
This is another thing as well that I really feel very strongly about. Is like there's a lot of people that they easily give up on things. Like even me, I do have that. But at the same time, I'm more of, if I'm interested in something, I think that's, I don't know if it's a Filipino side or a Japanese side. I would just say it's Japanese side. You know, the perfectionism. You know, like you want to be good at something. As a parent as well, I feel one of it is everyone has honors. Like if it's in a school project, people usually don't encourage you to be the first or the second. If you're the second, you're the loser basically. But it's not like that anymore. There's like the champion and everyone is a champion. Everyone has trophy or something like that. And I feel like that's another factor that young people sometimes take for granted, the things that you can actually do by yourself. Like you can do this, but because of how the world is being super convenient, how you grew up depending on what kind of neighborhood or what kind of background you have.
So if you're young, don't give up. Don't say the world is just against me. That's not true.
Another one, guys. This is what I've always been triggered.
I taught myself to read and write. I've had 5 books published. I went to college, got a little bit of college. I've studied scripture for many, many years. I've raised 5 children. I've buried a mother, father, sister, brother, wife, and daughter. So a person can accomplish anything that they want. One time, to prove to myself that I was not an ignorant person, I bought a blackboard.
This is one of the things that I feel like a lot of people dismissed trying to learn new things. You know, they've always had this, the more you grow older, the more you have hard time accepting that things that are probably true back in the day may not be true right now. Things change, and that's the only constant thing in the world. But a lot of people seems to not understand that, and the more you age, the more you are stubborn on your ways. And I feel that's one of the things that differentiate the older people that I really look forward to talking. I really look forward for all the wisdom and knowledge and respect are there, you know, like kind of like thank you for your service kind of thing in a way.
And I purchased a correspondence course for computer programming and I completed it. Don't stop. Never stop learning. Always reach out to better yourself, because when you do that, I
think I remember why I did click this. We always hear these things, right? Like for me, for example, I've never been to college. Lately, I've been realizing that a lot of people do have regrets, and it's always kind of a question that you kind of discuss. What are your regrets? And I've realized I don't have regrets. You know, maybe regrets of like, oh, I should have thrown the garbage yesterday. You know, those little things. But when it comes to life, I just don't. And I feel I'm in a point where a lot of people, you hear them having regrets of things that they should have done and they got stuck up on that situation. And I feel sorry for those people. And the same thing with him. An older person to understand that you have to learn more. It doesn't matter how old you are, you have to learn. And being as a personal trainer, knowing that you have to actually learn. You have to like not just your body, but as well your mind. For how dumb the world are going, there's no really good information that keeps entering your mind, because most of us are guilty of actually looking on stupid shit, you know? And sometimes you are just actually differentiating yourself if you're constantly on those platforms, or you're using that platform to better yourself. Those are the only differentiation of who you actually are. So for me to kind of like listen to an older person, knowing that, you know, they accept that they can learn more, they can actually do things. It doesn't matter how old they are. And we've been hearing these phrases of, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can always start somehow. We always hear this, but it's overused, and I think a lot of people don't actually understand what it really meant. He is a wise man.
You understand more. You're happier. You're healthier. This old saying that if you don't use it, you lose it, is absolutely true.
I do. I do believe that. Language, same thing. Muscles, same thing. Everything. That's why I told you guys, if you have a great body, I sometimes become prude. At the same time, if you have it, show it, use it. Very, very normal. But at the same time, people just don't do it. Don't be like those people who are kind of like throwback. It's always throwback, because they didn't do it. And then they'll get into like regrets because that's all you have. If your time passes and you didn't use your brain, you didn't use the God-given talents or good genes, because guys, there are good genes, those are the lucky ones, and you don't use it, what are we doing here?
If you don't use that brain that God put in your head, one of these days you'll be sitting on a front porch somewhere and you won't hardly know what's going on. So don't give up. If times are hard, good things nor bad things last forever. But most generally, we are in control of our own destiny.
I love that. I really do love that. I'm not really a person who believes in destiny kind of thing, or like fate is like you're exactly where you are. It's so romantic to think about that you are destined to be something. But I just think it's just choices in life, in the simple things. Real talk, don't be those people that keeps working hard. Like in Japan, they work hard, save money. And then when they're 50, because they've not taken care of their body, their mental health, it's either they lose their shit, they become crazy, or they just got sick. Then what are those for? Very, very common sense, but for whatever reason, people always fall to the trap of superficial things. My work cost me my health, and that's why I love my job. Because I feel like my job always reminds me to take care of your body. Don't get me wrong, guys. There's haters out there that would tell you that it doesn't really matter, because if you're gonna die anyways, you're gonna die anyways, so just enjoy it. It's like those are the reasons sometimes that I feel so ashamed, because I used to say that as well. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, those are excuses. We love excuses. All of us. Like really. Like we always say something, we can't do it. And I think that's what he meant. You can always start. If you really want it, go do it. There's internet, YouTube, find something. But type something and they'll tell you, even YouTube will tell you how to do it for everything. So it's not really a matter of, and this is why I tell myself sometimes, maybe I'm lazy, because I could have done more, but I choose not to. Stuff like that. Those are the little choices that differentiate where you're going to be in life.
When I say that, I mean this. If you're not getting ahead, you need to do something to allow yourself to get ahead.
See, this is one of the things that I actually feel Philippines lack a lot. What I'm saying is, in the Philippines, when I was a kid growing up over there, if you don't know, guys, I also live in the Philippines as a child. I felt like there's a lot of people in the Philippines that they really are so picky. And I'm not telling everyone, okay, guys, don't be super exaggerated. I'm not saying everyone. It's just kind of like more in my experience and in my bubble growing up. I've seen it a lot. They're so picky with what job they want to take in the Philippines, to the point that I feel it's such a denial that if you're a high school graduate, why would you expect to be a manager of some sort? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's also like in other countries, but I kind of feel it like that. And in Japan, when you reach a certain age and you retire on your job, if you have a really good paying job in a position, you're gonna have a huge amount of monthly, I don't know how you call it, pension or anything, right? Every month. But if you're just a normal individual working your ass off, then usually whatever you received is not enough, for your lifestyle or livelihood, even like paying for the rent, especially if you live in Tokyo. And for me, seeing these people that you kind of like grow up knowing they're like the CEO of this company, or they're like the supervisor of this company, and then seeing them, because the only job that they can apply are convenience store. Not that I'm saying convenience store is shitty. I'm saying from the level of where they are, they would go down there, but they don't care. In the Philippines, it seems like when you reach a certain level, they just cannot go down. You know, it's too cheap for this. In Japan, you don't see it. We have minimum wage, yes. But at the same time, if it's less, they're still gonna do the job because they're paying it. And that's the difference of how like workplace and stuff like that are different that I've seen.
But people that know how to work with their hands, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, cement layers, people that know how to work with their hands are going to be in great demand.
This is 9 years ago. Do you think, you know, using your hands the way he says it, do you think it would be in a great demand? But the thing is, it would always be great to have skills, you know, at the end of the, especially if you're a man, you have to have these skills, guys.
Yes, it's true. You have to have education and training to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. But I'll tell you the truth. I spent 60 years working. I was successful. I started a couple of businesses. I'm not a wealthy man, but I'm a guy that came from living in the back of an old car to having a nice retirement and to be able to talk to you on this thing. So I'm going to close, but I just wanted to share that with you this morning. Young people, I love you. I do. I love young people.
I love
my grandmother always said, you know, when a baby smiles, the angels sing. And that's true. I believe. But young people, you're the backbone of this country. You're the backbone of the world. I don't care if you're in Asia, Africa, Korea, Japan. I don't care where you are, the United States. You are the leaders, the future leaders of this world.
See, I just really have to, before it escapes my mind, I have to say this. As I've told you guys, ever since pandemic, my client base, 85% of them are old people. When we talk about old people, they are from their retirement age. Well, 55. Let's put 55 over there for some younger ones. But when I'm talking to younger people, I would always tell them, if you're a foreigner, you were probably also watching about Japan's declining birth rate. And of course, we have older people more than young ones. So for me, when I explain these things to people, especially now that a lot of younger generations, they don't really follow the tradition of just because you're older, we have to respect you. Lately, it's more of like, if you don't respect us, young people, we're not going to respect you. And I also came from that. You know, I'm pretty sure some of you can relate as well that you come from that, but also can relate to the other end of it, where you cannot really talk back to the elder people, whether they're a piece of shit or not. But what I'm saying is, these are the things that sometimes I feel when I talk to younger generations. I come from where the tradition of the old school, where you cannot talk to your elders, and also come from a point of view where I'm also a type of person. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're a piece of shit, a bad person, I don't look at your qualifications. I don't look how many years of college do you have. I don't look on that. I look past that. I look on how you carry yourself, how you treat people, how you look at life. That's how I based how I treat and respect a person. So what I'm saying is, did I forget my point? For me to explain to a younger person that they still need to respect elder people, even though they hate them. Old people, they're pretty known for being grumpy. As a young person, be patient. Because like for me, my dad, my mom, they're not angels. You know, they would do stuff that I won't like. But at the same time, I'm not going to tell them that. I'm not going to be fighting over it like I would fight a friend over something that I didn't like that they did. I'll just keep quiet because I feel like they've done much. They've did their share. And if they choose not to change who they are, then they'll be stuck in their ways. But you as a young person, you have to comprehend these things as well. You cannot just be thinking of it just one-sided and just do your own thing. Because at the end of the day, you still have these people to take care of. And that's why I really, really have such appreciation for community, especially now that I've been doing live streaming for 2 years. I really know the power of how community can cycle and can actually help each other's out, especially at these times. Everyone needs to be right on their opinion. Everyone needs to be the perfect person or something. You have to understand, we need to be realistic sometimes, you guys.